Hello YouTube, this is Ezekiel doing the 10th and final part of this after action report for Combat Mission Battle for Normandy, the Operation Bluecoat bonus mission at the end of the Scottish Corridor campaign. Come to the end. With the King Tigers now destroyed, the final assault into the end objective by my remaining infantry forces can go ahead. However, playing this game a few days ago, these last I think it's about 10 turns or so, threw up a couple of surprises. So it's definitely not a clear-cut victory yet. So just at this point, just double-checking everything. And being a little bit adventurous, I must admit, with the armour threat largely gone, it is just trying to use my vehicles as much as possible now to capitalise on the situation. Meanwhile, on the right flank, I still have that ad hoc infantry force that is moving around on the wheat field. And one Churchill there just trying to spot that last AT gun, if possible. So at the end of the last turn we saw a whole bunch of German infantry start fleeing from that little house and backyard there. And we'll see the continuation of that now. Okay, so we've got some Germans holed up in that two-story house with an attic. And I've got German spotting rounds coming in on me. But I've clearly got fire superiority, so I'm not too worried. The Germans are keeping their heads down. Saying it, they start opening fire. Okay, so thought I'd share my thoughts on the Scottish Corridor campaign. Very, very late, considering the module came out quite a while ago, but that was a very good campaign. The only real fault I've got with it is the last couple of missions. I mean, I was playing through the veteran path, I'm pretty sure, considering the number of Panthers I was up against. But those last few missions where I just had absolutely nothing left. And I just got rolled. They were just. I'm not trying to be a sore loser, but it was really. I wish the campaign just acknowledged that yes, you got nothing left, you can't continue. Yeah, having the last missions just seemed a bit forced. That you're not meant to win this type of thing. You have no chance of succeeding, no matter what you try. To me, in combat mission, that's not really the goal. I think there should always be an option to win. Even if it was historically inaccurate. It is, at the end of the day, a war game and you're trying to actually beat the scenario. So, difficult, yes. Physically impossible without developing nuclear weapons earlier in the piece than history had. That's not fun. So, that's the only real downside, but especially the earlier missions and some of the big set pieces. Like fighting over Garvis on the same map for a number of battles is actually great. I mean, I haven't really done that a lot since the original Combat Mission Beyond Overlord days. There's probably a few others I can think of, but this campaign parts of it sort of remind me of the old Carentan campaign that came with Beyond Overlord. That was amazing. That was a real slog following the 101st Airborne through the opening days of Normandy as they marched towards Carentan. So that was this campaign, little elements like that. We are fighting over the same map time and time again, and probably just from different angles or from different starting positions. Of course, this game, unlike Beyond Overlord, this engine currently doesn't have constant battle damage yet. I think that's going to be a great new feature, hopefully, in future versions. That's one of those big ticket items I think it needs to be thrown in at a later date. Oh, the Germans are counter-attacking a little bit. Looks like one squad's regained its composure and is moving up, but at the same time gets hit by Churchill. So I'm going to take these buildings real soon. Quite surprised didn't really lose anyone there in my little charge, but the joys of overwhelming firepower. Okay, spotting rounds getting a little bit close to the tanks. May have to think about moving them up further to the front line. So anyway, as I was saying, I mean, nothing's perfect. There's always going to be little issues in that you find. That was my take on the Scottish Corridor campaign, but if you haven't played it yet, don't let me put you off. It's definitely take it on. Lots of interesting engagements, and really makes you think how are you going to use British infantry with basically, well, British infantry being probably the weakest of the infantry in the game to date, just by the nature of having smaller squad sizes than the Americans, and weapons that less number of automatic weapons compared to the Germans. So it really does make you think about how best to approach situations. Not looking forward to seeing my end of campaign result after this, because that's going to be I think it's going to be a very, very bloody affair. I was quite thankful for a number of those replacement missions, replacements and resupply situations after some scenarios, because my infantry forces were absolutely decimated for some of the companies I was using. So just to reiterate, I think what I said at the first video, I mean, this whole scenario here is following one of the forces I took. I think it was the 9th Cameronians, that was the Argylls, I'm not too sure. Well, they're the two formations you use in this particular campaign, but anyway, I think it's the Cameronians who go up against this German force. Once again, I forgot from which formation that you fight in the campaign itself. Now, oh, and I just lost a tank, I think. Anyway, basically, yeah, you go up against the same force about a month later after Epsom during Operation Bluecoat, and it's like a rematch, so to speak. So this bonus mission's been all about, and sure enough, the Germans did bring their A game in this mission too. Hasn't been an easy slog moving forward, I must admit. Saying that, I am also still pretty impressed with myself, considering I haven't been able to use a lot of the heavier support options available because I lost that forward observer early in the piece. Not being able to use aircraft and the largest of the artillery pieces, was it 137 millimeters or something like that? That really hurt. That was probably the biggest loss for me for this entire battle. Moving towards this final objective now, even trying to take on the King Tigers, that would have been done a lot quicker if I had actually had aircraft. Yeah, that would have made this battle a lot easier. So a little bit of me is tempted to go back and play it again and protect that forward observer a lot better, just to see what it'd be like playing with the supporting Typhoons and the heavy artillery piece. But I think we'll let reality take over, and I think you can't keep doing restarts. That's cheating. But also, I'm playing an awful lot of combat mission games recently with the British forces, and I'm sort of need a little break. Be good to go back and play as the Germans again, or even the Americans. Be good to have bigger squad sizes again, I must admit. Quick drink. The weather here is still frightfully hot. Oh. Okay, so we lost a machine gun from that Achilles, and the crew are all rattled up, so
Hello, Simon, out.
probably try and just protect that tank now. Looks like the 75mm has got eyes on in that part of the road. As I was saying, it's still very hot here in middle of summer in Australia. I'm recording this at about between 8:30 and 9 o'clock at night, and it is still about 34 degrees centigrade outside. Long hot nights, so I must admit I am looking forward to getting rid of these headphones very quickly after this recording is done. And I'll start the upload. So just going to, rather than going across that field, I'm thinking of moving one of those squads up on that left flank of that field. That gives me a lot of safer route forward. If there's still Germans hiding, if there's still Germans hiding in that scrubland there, I could be in trouble if I advance. So. Okay, looks like that smoke that my Achilles popped to when it retreated is floating right over the line of sight of my other tanks and my infantry, so I can't see ahead of me. That's going to delay me a little bit. Really don't want to advance infantry. Yes, they've got perfect cover, but I can't see forward either, so I'll stumble upon any German troops that are actually still defending. So I just want to hold off for a little bit there. More spotting rounds going in towards the XO. Meanwhile, my flanking infantry have spotted what looks to be the HQ, or one of the HQs. Yep, I think it's the HQ of the entire force actually. It's not fully identified yet, so I'm not too sure. Just make sure this other house is clear. Should be. And get the officer up close to his troops. It's the company HQ. Meanwhile, my seems like my vehicles and that have funny pathways. I should have actually focused on that a bit better. They're not destroyed, but they are taking a very funny route to actually reaching where I wanted them to go. So, yeah, even I'm guilty of it after all this time. You get very complacent towards the end of battles and say, "Oh, it's safe here. I can just let the AI just work it out where to go." But AI can still make some pretty silly choices of how to actually get to a destination. So. If you're very diligent, always give it a complex pathway yourself. I have been stumped many times by thinking some area is safe and just let the AI do it, and then you suddenly see a brewed up tank. Also, just don't forget to keep some of my forces, even if it's just these light transports, in the other objective zones. That's probably why I'm moving them back. Yeah, you don't want to. I'm pretty sure they're occupy objectives, so you don't want to ditch all your forces from prior objectives. You may lose the points for it. So just something there to hold it down. It doesn't have to be an infantry squad, just a vehicle of some kind will do. Here comes the surprise. It's always horrible watching this in hindsight. You know what's going to happen. At this point, I'm getting very, very worried about these artillery strikes, realising now what they're going for. Oh, there goes one of the carriers. 75mm strikes again. Ow. So you start to realise here what they're possibly going for, and that my troops are running tired. Really, it's not going to. I'm also checking. I'm thinking, hang on, is that my spotting rounds coming down early? Really off target. That could be the possibility. Not too sure, but I don't know if they're mine or theirs. So this close to the end, I don't have time to retreat and then come back later when I'm certain. You see that the time is really running down now, so I risk it. I can't run forward. My troops are getting tired, and they'll be exhausted and I won't make the objective. So I'm thinking, heads down, pray for this turn it's all right, and then advance. Meanwhile, it's definitely German artillery landing around my XO on the hill there. So he was obviously spotted and starts to take hits. And wiped out. So all his good work calling in artillery from that point and eyeing off King Tigers, he ends up taken out. Ah well. So I'm just double checking my artillery, making sure that stuff falling near my forces is mine or not. It could be still that one. It could not be that one because suddenly lost the spotter. So desperately just trying to work out who this artillery belongs to. Meanwhile, I've also got to start thinking about where is that a forward observer. If it is a German forward observer, where would they be? Where would they be? Probably the buildings at the back. If they've got line of sight, same area that 75 gun is. But I'll try to move this flanking force up further. If they can reach all the way up here, and with their breach charges go through that little hedgerow there into the back end of the Priam objective, that means that forward area is probably going to be relatively lightly defended. So if they're not shot at from their left as they advance from those red buildings, I am really certain that I can move my main infantry force up down the road. Problem is losing that XO on the hill there. I've really lost a good observer. The platoon and company commanders down in the centre of the little valley here on the road don't have good line of sight. This tank does, and he can actually call it in. It is actually the HQ, or platoon troop HQ for a tanks. So I'll order him to bring in artillery on that last gun, but at the same token, it's a 16-minute call in and 8 minutes left in real of standard time for this battle. There probably is overtime, but it's probably going to come in far too late now. So decide to move forward, had their breather. It's time to run forward. At least get into that wheat field and get concealment. Because at the moment this platoon is right out in the open. Oh crap. So, two bad things happened right at the start of the turn. My advancing force is suddenly ambushed by remaining German forces, and incredibly heavy German artillery falls right in the middle of two whole platoons. Can't help but just sit here and just cry. So, and being ambushed on the right flank wasn't good. I've got enfilading fire on my advancing forces. Honestly, I just didn't expect Germans to be holed up there. Thought they would have were focusing on the left with that advancing company for most of the game, or actually hiding on the objective in those buildings for cover. I didn't expect them on the hedgerows that far back, so that's a fair cop, good ambush, but to lose, double check those planes again just in case. It's definitely not my artillery doing that. It is the Germans. They got a good line of sight to my forces. Damaged a tank, immobiliser the support Churchill, and getting very close to that open-topped Achilles as well. Even the relatively distant platoon on the left flank, 13th, they are also took a casualty or so. But that platoon in the centre and on the right flank really got hit hard. So all of a sudden it went from an assault onto that final objective to desperately just trying to hang on now. I don't think the Germans can rush the other two objectives I hold, obviously, but they could actually take out a lot of infantry here. And if there's any victory points for casualties, which I'm assuming there will be, it could actually bring the game back to a draw or into their favour, of all things. So, yeah. So just get these, even though the Churchills are heavily armoured and sealed, get them away from this artillery, move them forward. They should be able to sit there and contest the objective, even if the infantry don't make it. I don't think there's any German Panzerschrecks that far forward. I think I would have spotted them by now. But I'll move as much of the infantry forces forward, regardless of chain of command and who's running where. Let's get them forward, get them away from that artillery strike, which appears to be in line. A line formation running across that hedgerow. Meanwhile, just get as many forces forward as possible, knowing you're going to lose some, but you want as much infantry as possible on the objective to sit and hold. So just make sure these guys all stop moving and hunker down. See, the problem there is some people say, "Oh, might as well retreat," but when you're retreating, you know they've got no cover. They're going to be sliced to bits. if they're retreating from those Germans. So it's better just to hunker down in the good concealment of the wheat field and pray. See all your good work go to waste. Well, not really, but close to it. That's the other bad thing about this such heavy artillery the Germans have here. It's got an incredibly wide potential blast radius. Meanwhile, the odd gunfire from the edge of Pram on the German side seems to be picking off one or two people as well. Just want to point out here, this is where I actually do my one edit for the entire video coming up. Probably another turn of action, I'm not too sure, but the last 10 minutes of game time, whatever, nothing happened. Like most combat mission games, they have a slow conclusion as the forces disengage, and so I think it's after this particular minute it'll be cut, and I'll go straight to the completion screen, the after action screen. So I just felt watching another 20 odd minutes of gameplay which nothing happened except for another blast of high explosives well behind my lines on the Hector objective, the second objective. Yeah, unless you really wanted to see 10 more minutes of high explosives or off-map artillery porn, there really wasn't much to see. I didn't advance my forces any further. I just desperately tried to hold the ground and contest that last objective. And the Germans didn't actually do any counterattacks or anything this late in the piece either. So I know this AAR's thing is an edit-free after-action report, but that one cut I just had to make because I just couldn't speak for another 15 minutes and having nothing really to talk about because nothing was happening. So the Germans get the last laugh in the battle. Okay, and British Army tactical victory. Everyone failed their main objectives, but it looks like still one overall, purely down to the territory. It looks like quite a lot of German casualties, but very heavy on my side too. That infantry force would not be in battle for much longer. Just scroll through some of the units. Let's see these Churchills. So that Churchill took out the Panzer IV. So some of these troops have been with me all through the campaign, so that's why you got campaign victories too. And that guy, that tank destroyer had a good time. And looks like the other tank destroyer got the other King Tiger. That particular Churchill had fun with the infantry. And my infantry forces this particular battle didn't really do a lot. Yeah, the odd casualty here and there, but well, no, that's why it's a tank cruise, so. Wow, a 2-inch mortar with a 28 enemy casualties across the campaign. Give that one a medal. So just have a bit of a look at the Germans. Yeah, that ambushing force at the end there. Yeah, I couldn't take that on, I don't think, with my beat-up infantry forces. So, sort of glad I sat still. And sure enough, that 75mm, he had one shell, one round left as well. He went to town on my armour. Meanwhile, the King Tigers, one King Tiger had a good day and the other one didn't. Oh, think that's about it. Tactical victory for the battle, and Allied major victory for the end of the campaign. As you can see, enormous casualties on both sides across the dozen or more battles. I'm actually quite surprised at the tank result. I thought I lost a lot more tanks than that across the campaign, especially against all those Panthers in a couple of the battles. But anyway, there you go. I hope you enjoyed it, everyone. Leave comments below, subscribe, like, send it around to your friends, and I'll do more after-action reports in the near future. Many thanks, and thanks for watching for the 10 parts, and I'll see you around on the forums. Take it easy, everyone.